Jean says, I'm Duncan McGougan. I've covered 20 years experience in the prison service, worked at 3 jails, Shorts, Glasgow, and in the last 3 years, Lomos. I work hand in hand with a young lady called Jackie Gilchrist, who's the family contact officer. And in the 20 years I've worked within the prison service, she's probably the best family contact officer I've ever seen in action. She's great with kids, fantastic, and really understands the impact that imprisonment has. Being supported as she is, she sent me a text earlier on just before the break, which I picked up in the break, and it was, good luck, Duncan. Give a good speech. How big's the crowd? So I text back, it's 160 women and 4 men. And then she says, in the speech, do the full Monty. That's just not happening. But that's Jackie for you. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's 3 labels I can fling in there. And if I was to go around the room and say, give me your preconception about prison, I would probably label it under one of those 3 headings. Unfortunately, and sadly, you would probably go under the bad and ugly because that's what you read about, and that's what you see on the TV, and that's what you hear people talking about. And that sells papers, and it gets numbers up for people watching the news, etc. Hopefully today I can open a small window, and that'll be an opportunity for you to see into what we call Lomos Prison in Bishopbriggs, an opportunity to see some of the good work that gets done by prison staff working with families and dealing with the impact that prison has on that family. You'll see the small logo at the top, unlocking potential, transforming lives, and that's pretty much an SPS belief that we look at individuals, whether that be staff, prisoners, and we look at their potential and unlock that, and in the process we transform their lives. Easy to say, does it work? Time will tell. But we'll walk through that. HMP Lomos changed that slightly, and what we look at as changing prisons, changing lives. Lomos opened its doors to prisons in March 2012, 2.5 years ago. And we take long-term prisoners, which is 4 years and over, the maximum prisoner I know in Lomos serving 26 years, with a minimum of a life sentence. And we take 760 prisoners, and half of that's long-termers and half of that is short-termers. Now, short-termer prison is 4 years and under, and that's anybody doing a couple of weeks straight from court up to, as I say, 4 years. They're separated in 2 separate halls, and yes, prisoners do have sky television, yes, prisoners have single-cell accommodation, and yes, prisoners have cell sanitation and showers. Is that the punishment? I think it is, because I deal with them day in, day out, and I know what punishment is when it comes to being in prison. We talked about the good earlier on. I'm going to show you some good things when we talk about personal experiences with prisoners, and I want you to think that even the good that gets done is seen negatively by the press. And we'll come back to that in the speech and we'll talk about that. HMP Lomos, very clean to the eye, very nice to look at. I've got 6-year-old twins. I was taking them through to Stirling for an ice cream a couple of weeks ago, and then passing Wallace High School, if anybody knows it. But it's a new high school in Stirling, just in the outskirts, in Bridge of Alm. And my young daughter pipes up, look, that's your work, Daddy. And it very much is, and I looked at the place and I says, you know, it's not far from that, and it very much resembles a school and a college. And if you walk into Lomos, it's very airy, very bright, a lot of natural light, and we'll see the visit room in a minute, but it's structured that way. It was built for a purpose, and that purpose was to change the outlook in all prison. It's not a dark place to work, it's not a dark place for the people that reside there. Instead, we want to change that kind of image and hopefully develop these people when they come into prison, make it a positive experience, because what's led to them being there is very negative. And that's not saying that what they've done is right, it's just understanding they have wrong society, but we have to deal with it in the end. So, some statistics for you. Why is a guy up here with 20 years experience talking about working with kids in prison? I'm not going to spend too much time as I usually would because I'm aware of the time restraints are quite tight and I'm not impacting people's lunch. But if you look at that and the statistics that are there, and I think the bottom one probably speaks heavily regarding it all. And it's probably the word in there, concedes. Not a lot of people admit to imprisonment having a strong impact on the family because they like to ignore that fact. They like to hide behind the fact that no, it's not too bad. Oh, what I've done, we'll get by. But I think the big word is concede because a lot more percentage than that, I believe, is people that as soon as imprisonment happens, it impacts the family directly. Every one of them there has an impact on a family. Whether the experience of the prisoner has been brought up in care, it relates to who he is as a father, how he sees a family unit. Obviously the drugs involved, there's the child comes secondary to a lot of prisoners, and they don't realise that until they do come into prison and see the impact on what they've done to their kids and their family, because their whole life is centred around getting drugs for themselves, whether it's been alcohol or selling drugs just to keep up the kind of financial aspects of that and the gain that's achieved through that. SPPA's vision speaks about making Scotland a better society and building the people that come through our doors, building them to contribute to that society. Give effect early years framework. Now, we work on outcome-based approaches, and 12 of those approaches is what we operate with and work with within the prison service. 2 of the 12 are give effect and the early years framework. You might find that strange that such strong things that are involved in a prison or are run in a prison, but it's 2 vital aspects to what we operate and what we must understand. Because it's not for the prisoners we look at that, but for the young children and the families that come through the doors at visit times. It's young children that come through when Lynne's present to do the SPPA work, and we have to fully understand what their needs, their development needs and their educational needs are in respect to having contact with their parents. So that's what we have to look at as an organisation. As I say, we have to make it, and the vision is making Scotland a safer place and making communities safer. And there's 2 aspects of that I want to talk about. Now, usually I just kind of briefly like this, but I think it's a good point that I bring in a kind of personal experience. And this happened yesterday morning. I thought at the time after it, it's probably a good time to talk about, because I can sit here and say the impact on prison is vast on the family. I can tell you that the kids initially when they come in are terrified, they hide behind their mum's legs, they're scared of what prison is because they have to go through a kind of stripping process. They watch their parents or their mum or their carers getting visually searched, hands rubbed down, going through a metal detector which can take 3 or 4 minutes because they'll have to take their shoes off, take their belts off. So it's very much a process that a child standing watching looks at and thinks, there's something not right about this. She's told me it's come to work. This isn't right. There's something wrong here. And a child quickly picks it up. So I had a wee experience yesterday. We've got what we call a PIP section. It's a positive impact programme section where we house 32 prisoners who have never been in prison before. And I had a message on my answer phone yesterday morning when I came in, and it was off Thursday. And it was from a very distraught woman called Catherine. And Catherine's saying on the phone, my husband's in jail, he's in good prison, I've been told, he was at court yesterday, we didn't expect this, I've got my 3-year-old daughter, was she allowed in to see him, how did I get to contact? Pretty jumbled, but she was a wee bit distraught. So I said, I'm not going to speak to the guy rather than phone her back because she's obviously quite upset about it. So I went to get a wee bit of background information. So I knew he was a 3-year-old daughter, I knew he'd never been in prison before, so I went in to see him. The guy was Neil. I carry cell keys, so I went to the section, told the staff where it was going, opened the guy's door. This strapping big boy standing, let's say early 30s, very tanned, obviously been on holiday. So I said to him, I says, have 5 minutes of your time? Ah, no bother, pal. So we take him into the interview room, big bravado of a guy. I say, this is going to change, as it usually does. And it obviously goes quite emotional at times. And it's a quite emotionally charged atmosphere when you talk to somebody that's just in prison for the first time. So we get to the interview room and he sits down and I say, how are you? He says, oh, I'll just get IA. I said, I had a wee message for your wife when the shoulders went down. I said, she was just sounding a wee bit upset on the phone. And I said, obviously it's hit her quite bad, you've been in jail. I said, the date you didn't expect it. He says, no, it was furthest thing for minds. He said, you getting put in prison. He's only been 5 months, so about probably December, because he was happy in that sense. So he's sitting there and he's looking at me and I said, do you want to phone Catherine? I says, because obviously he's a bit upset. And I do that for 2 reasons. Obviously it's reassuring for him, it's reassuring for his family, but it lets me find out if there's any, what I can do, because I work with the families and the relationship side of things, and if there's anything to do with the kids and issues, I intervene then. So he picks up the phone and I could see he was a wee bit emotional again, and he speaks to Catherine. And Catherine's emotional on the phone. And I'm sitting there, so I carried on, I was on the computer, which I wasn't really, I just really listened, because I can hear both sides of the conversation, the room was that quiet. And all I heard was, daddy, daddy. That's a 3-year-old daughter asking for her dad, obviously quite excited at the fact. So a couple of seconds passed and I realised he wasn't talking. So I turned around and he was just an emotional wreck, just bubbling. So I took the phone off him, spoke to Catherine and says, Catherine, we'll phone you back in 10 minutes. And she was in bits as well. So I dealt with the situations the way you have to do, but after that I walked away and I'm thinking that just demonstrates the impact of imprisonment, because my thoughts were with the wee one, how's the mum going to explain that situation? Because one minute she's excited that daddy is obviously been at work because that's the story told her, he's at work, daddy's on the phone, going to speak to me, phone gets put down, mum's crying. So that's what a young man has to deal with, and that's the kind of effects that we have to deal with and be aware of when we're working with children and their families. So we see their strength in family attachments. That's really what we try and focus on when we're working with families. Identify and place in society that involves a home, very much so. No, a home is no four walls. It's about the feelings, emotional ties that has with a home. And when a prisoner goes to prison, that all changes. The dynamics of a home fully change. Even if it's for a couple of months, even if it's for 5 to 10, 15 years, the dynamics change with everybody within that family. The teenage son soon becomes the father of the household. He tries and takes charge. So when a father gets out of prison, there's that dynamic to deal with. So it's quite hard to get people prepared. And there was never nothing that was focused on before in the prison service. And now it's a lot of what we do is getting guys prepared for going out and maintaining that relationship they have with their partner, but more importantly, maintaining that link they have with their kids. And that relationship with the kids will when they do go out, it's just a continuation of something that's already in place. Visit room in Lomos, as I say, it's nice and bright. The house is 35 tables, 35 prisoners can sit in. Each prisoner can sit at a table and there's only 3 adults and various amounts of children. So that can be quite a hectic place when there's umpteen children running about. It can be quite loud, quite noisy, and a lot of people don't like it. Is it ideal for children's visits? No, it's not. So what we looked at children's visits at a separate time with a limited number of prisoners. So we have children's visits at 5:15 to 6:30, and that's a maximum of 15 prisoners allowed with their children. At normal visit, the prisoner has to sit in his seat, the single seat that you see facing 3. He has to sit there during a normal visit. In the children's visit, he gets up to walk about, and he can cuddle the child, sit the child on his knee, which is not normally allowed, and he can walk about and get involved in the activities that we do have. We have a homework club on a Monday night. We have a Kelvin and Scouts guys on a Wednesday, book bug on a Tuesday, and art and craft on a Thursday. The only night we don't have anything is a Friday. So there's a lot of things for kids to do, and it's a very popular visit because of that reason, because we respect that time is for the child. It's not really for the dad of the family, but it's good to have facilities like that the dad can get interacting. I think the lady from Parkhead spoke about earlier about the interaction. That wasn't good enough. It's great saying, oh, we've got this on paper, we can get kids in at a separate time, we can focus on the dad, we can give them book club, but it's no pristine, it's no great contact with the child. I've seen carers come in with children, hand them to the dad in the visit room, and the dad doesn't know what to do with it. He's sitting there trying to feed the baby, it needs change, he hasn't an idea how to do that, and so the carer has to step in at times and assist. And it's quite sad to see because the guy's experience of being a dad has never been a hands-on experience. Hence the SPPA and Superroom in Lynne. Our involvement in the SPPA takes that one step forward, and it's a necessary step to take. If you're going to be truthful about ourselves in addressing different areas framework, we have to take on board fully and understand what it really means to implement that. SPPA brought in baby massage, dad's group, mum and toddlers half hour, and a family interactive session. And following that 10-week programme, what comes on now, we have a maintenance visit. So it's great having that for 10 weeks that the SPPA are facilitating, but it's important that they have that 10 weeks, they've learned how to play together, they've learned how to interact and the benefits of that, then they can book on a visit where Lynne will be there again, and that's ongoing, and they can continue that contact throughout the sessions. The dad's group's fantastic, and Lynne's going to hand over to Lynne just for a couple of minutes, and Lynne's going to tell you about some of the dads that have experienced the dad's group and given them some quotes.
So, the dad's group is all about interactive play that I do with the dads, and during this time we're talking about child development, and then following the dad's programme they can come on to play sessions and apply what they've learned into the play sessions with their children, involving their partners as well. So today I'm just here, I want to tell you a few quotes that I've got written down. Story actually. There was a wee girl, aged 3, it was time to go, it was the end of the play session. She folded her arms, walked to the door that the dad's leaving from the bottom of the visit room, and she just stood and said, I'm not coming, I want to sleep over at Daddy's tonight. Mum's response was, I wish. Little boy aged 3, I love you Daddy and I miss you. And Dad was quick to respond with, I love you too and I miss you too. Little girl aged 4 told her daddy, I kiss your picture on Mum's phone every night before I go to bed, Dad. Dad couldn't respond, he was too emotional. Little boy aged 5, what are your birthday wishes? Just to have my daddy, was his response. Another family I was working with, the little boy wanted a story, he was aged 3. So Dad started reading this story. Within this story, the dad in the story was telling his son a bedtime story. The child quickly turned the page, saying, I can't have that just now. In the story, the dad gives the son a bedtime kiss, and he just lost interest completely and went to a completely different activity. Wasn't interested at all. Father that has 2 children, one aged 4 and one aged 2. In the father's programme, there's lots of things gets discussed in the father's programme while the dads are playing. They feel quite comfortable to talk about a lot of issues. One father said, we weren't thinking of our kids when we did what we did to end up in here. Another father was quick to respond with, but why should our kids be punished for what we did? That was our choice, not theirs. So basically, every day that I'm doing play sessions, I see the impact that parental imprisonment has on children. Some days are quite emotional, and some days are all right. It's all very, very serious stuff, but we play and we have fun together. So everything that's delivered is in a really fun way through play. I get to know the families. You've got to get to know the families and the children before you can kind of assess, and you're observing all the time where they are. During the sessions as well, families need different levels of support. Those quotes that I've said have come from families who have needed a lot of support to families that have great interactions with their children. It still has an impact on the child. I tend to role model quite a lot of interactions with children where support's needed, so that it's not direct and parents can pick up on that and then they copy as well. It's a great learning together. Every day is a learning day, as Jean would say. We all learn together. I learn from the prisoners, I learn from the children, I learn from the prison staff. The support that we've had from prison staff in Dumfries and in Longmoss has been exceptional. The partnership has been great and it's working really well for children. One of the families that I did work with, the dad had no attachment whatsoever with his son, but by the time we finished, he had a great attachment. And then came to follow-on sessions in the community to show me how he taught his son how to sing Baba Black Sheep. He was so proud of himself. So every day you see the impact that it has on children, so it's really important that we get better outcomes for these children. So thank you to the prisons for all their support as well, it's been great.
I'm sure I should not have paused last time I went off because I'm never told you it's going on. As I say, the visit room, that was the original one when you saw that's when the place first opened. So we converted it now to one full wall. It's child friendly and it's made up of 4 compartments. The last compartment you'll see the TV screens at the far end, that's the Xbox area. In between that we've got the wee arts and crafts spot where there's tables and chairs and books. And the one you see on the left with the blue mats, that's where Lynne serves our magic on the baby massage. And that's one class I've never experienced before, but it's a fantastic class, and the benefits for the dads is absolutely amazing. There's a waiting list for that now. A wee guy with twins came up to me yesterday, a wee boy and a girl, and he's desperate to get on the course just to have some contact with his wee babies, which were born when he was obviously inside. I'll not go through the kind of stuff. That's another wee kind of angle from the children's play area. It's very well child orientated. Just to give you a kind of brief overview of what we do as well, we work with schools outside. We do CPT events for teachers. They come in, they do a walkthrough what the children will go through. I'm starting to speak to Lynne and utilise Lynne in an aspect of children's hearings, where I go to children's hearings and I can promote contact with the dad. If it's a once a week contact, I can tell him exactly if it's a baby. We can promote them to the baby massage, and if it's just normal play, we can interact them or get them involved in maintenance sessions every week. And that's very much hands-on, but it's not a lot more than just handing the baby over now, and that's his once a week contact. It's very much getting the dad focused on the child, doing some interactive play and some educational play and structure through Lynne. So it's fantastic work that we can promote for the prison at such a thing as a children's manner of contact with social work. So the important thing, what the dads think, eh? I'll let you read the comments for yourself, but the one that really impacts is the one below. It's like being a real dad for a wee while. And that's how they feel it. It's very much when it started, the prisoners went through the course, they're very much used to that visit and the maintenance visit that follows it. But when it's new to them, when they get that kind of contact, it wasn't unusual to see them walking away very quiet, with a wee tear in their eye, just walking away for their children and having that quality time, but it would be an hour and a half. It's something they've never experienced before in that small time that they've been in jail. Because all the guys that Lynne's dealing with just now is long-term prisoners, and that's prisoners that have been 4 years and over. So the impact on their kids and in themselves is quite strong. There is one question that gets asked quite common though. I've put it to management, I'm quite careful about getting qualified in that because I believe in the hands-on work. But I can't reply, I can't tell you the reply. But anyway. Thanks for listening to me, thanks so much.